Al, it
Hmm.
is finally time to talk about one of the most recent controversial games.
Just took us a little while for
Who,
one of us to actually play it.
boy, yeah. There's a lot to talk about with this game.
I
And also not a lot to talk about with this game. It's weird.
Oh no.
It's going to be a mess. Either way, hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode number 277. And we're going to finally talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm-hmm. Here we are.
Here we are. It's unprecedented to see a game get so much hype in its pre-release coverage and then come out and just be a complete mess.
Yep.
And the general public perception just basically do a 180. Like, you don't see that happen very often, and this is one of those cases. You also don't see games getting pulled off of retail stores
Nope.
by one of the console makers.
Nope.
I mean, look, there's a lot to talk about with this game. A lot of you are going to know the story of this game and everything, but we're going to try our best to kind of put all that together and see exactly what's up with this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a year and a half later, essentially. Oh, man. So this game came out on December 10th, 2020, which does not feel right. I feel like this game came out last year, but it's just, it never got out of the news cycle, it felt like. It was just something else came up with it, and something else came up with it, and then something else came up with it, and so on and so forth.
It still feels new.
Yeah. The PS5, Xbox Series X versions came out on February 15th, 2022. That is the version I played. I played the PS5 version, so I have a little bit of a different viewpoint on this game compared to how other console players might have.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for clarification also, I bought this game off eBay used because I did not want to give CD Projekt Red money.
Understandably so. I appreciate the fact that you did that.
I bought it really cheap, and then Best Buy last week was like, hey, we're going to sell this game for $5. And I was like,
$5.
$5.
Wow.
Also, the person I bought this from on eBay was literally lives a town away from me, and I thought that was very funny. So yeah, this is the follow-up from The Witcher 3 for CD Projekt Red. They got Keanu Reeves in this game, and every time they showed us off pre-release, it looked just ridiculous.
Yep.
It looked wild. It looked incredible.
It was insane.
And then it came out, and then everyone was like,
oh.
What happened here?
This is not what we were promised.
No. Where do we start with this? Do we just start with all the controversies and then go from there? Because I think that's the way we got to do this.
That sounds like a good start to me.
Oh, man. So, yeah. I feel like the first big red flag of this game was that review copies were sent out.
Yep.
Before the game came out. And it was basically only the PC version got sent out.
Yep.
Along with CD Projekt Red giving a very ridiculous embargo and also making people sign NDAs for it.
Mm-hmm.
To basically kind of fabricate what this game technically was.
Yep. And how it ran.
And how it ran. So the PC version of this game has scored really well.
Right.
The console versions, on the other hand, the previous gen console versions did not at all.
Mm-mm.
For clarification, the Metacritic for PC as of this recording is at an 86. Because it ran fine there for the most part. I mean, still there's stuff wrong with the game, but the performance-wise, it ran pretty well if you had the hardware for it.
It was functional.
Yes. PS4, 57. Xbox One, 61.
Oof.
Also, the PS5 is at a 75, and the Xbox Series X is at an 87. Which I will say, as someone who played the current gen versions of this game, performance-wise, it was completely fine. There was no weird frame rate issues. There's some technical stuff here and there, I think, you can talk about, but performance-wise, it was really okay. I only had the one time the game crashed at the final mission, which I thought was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I didn't have like any of the wild, stories that I heard or anything like that of like how the console versions ran, which is, I think it's supposed to make sense because like the hardware for the current gen consoles is going to be more on par with like, good PCs and everything. So like, it's going to run better that way.
Right.
Getting this game to run on the previous gen was clearly a nightmare that they should not have attempted.
No. I should have just canned them if they knew it wasn't going to work, and they very obviously knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. There was also the issue where one of the things in the game, the brain dance sequences, which is like a way for you to go inside like someone's memories and like do investigation and stuff, was causing epileptic seizures.
Woo!
And apparently no one caught that in developing this video game somehow, which is wild. I think they have basically removed that aspect. Like, I don't think it's as intense or like even a thing anymore. So that's a good thing. There's also an epileptic warning now in the game, which was not in at launch.
Man, imagine doing that.
Oh man. Reviewers, by the way, this is what they praised and criticized of the video game. They praised the quality of the story as well as the depth and expansiveness of side quests, immersive atmosphere of the world, visual quality, and freshness of the cyberpunk setting. The game systems such as crafting, driving, mechanics, and combat received a mixed response. Some critics, while acknowledging the game's many strengths, nonetheless criticized its shallow portrayal of the cyberpunk genre and also described its portrayal of related themes such as anti-capitalism and anarchism as ironic. Others took issue with the portrayal of transgender people who they felt were fetishized by in-game material but were not given any meaningful narrative in the role in the narrative, excuse me. Which, yeah, that makes 100% sense as someone who's played this game. I will say, like, they really go, like, over the edge in trying to be edgelordy with, like, a lot of the in-game advertisements. Like, it is all just, like, sexualized advertisements.
Gross.
And it gets to the point where, like, it just beats you over the head with it, and it's ridiculous. Like, going to, like, the transgender criticism, like, there's definitely an advertisement you see constantly in the game of just like a lady who's advertising this drink called, I think, like Mix It Up or something, and she clearly very visibly has a penis, and it's just like, why did you think this was a good idea?
I mean, I think that like if you're trying to do this in a way that's like critiquing, not that particular ad, that one just should have never happened.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, like if you're doing it as like a way to like make a cultural critique or something like that, like it can be done.
It can be, but
they obviously were not the people to do it.
No, a lot of these ads are just like, hey, we really liked South Park in 1999 and
Oof.
pro wrestling in 1999 and just loved edgy stuff, so this is what we're doing.
Ew.
It's a lot like that. So yeah, let's also talk about, there's a lot of stuff on this Wikipedia we're just going to read because it's just a lot and it'll give you a good kind of synopsis of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the tech issues and the controversies post-launch.
All right, let's do it.
The release of Cyberpunk was a high-profile event and was considered a disastrous launch as a result of the game suffering from numerous bugs and performance issues, particularly on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions. The Guardian called this release a shambles, while the New York Times said it was among the most conspicuous disasters in the industry's history, with CD Projekt Red prominently failing to meet expectations for what was anticipated to be the biggest game release of the year. Other gaming industry commentators have described the post-launch reception of Cyberpunk as a fall from grace for CD Projekt Red, who had previously enjoyed a fiercely pro-consumer reputation. Which is true, because there was a lot of positive responses to The Witcher 3, which also had its own post-launch issues that they had to fix. GOG was a big, popular thing with its anti-DRM stuff, what they were doing with releasing games and all that sort of stuff. And then once this game came out, it was just like, whoop, the switch was flipped. Some of the initial reviews that had been based on the PC version of the game were later updated to add a caveat about the notable difference in performance between this version and its console releases. Because of the game's performance on consoles, CD Projekt issued an apology, particularly for their pre-release secrecy regarding these versions, concluding that unsatisfied customers could opt for refunds. That's also a thing. I forgot that they were like, hey, you can refund this game through us.
Yeah, that's also something that you don't normally see.
Yeah. This was initially followed by multiple reports of players unable to get said refund. CD Projekt Red later stated that they had no specific deals in place with either Microsoft or Sony to facilitate such an action. Refunds are dealt with according to standard refund policies. It was a mess.
Standard refund policies can be a mess, especially like with retail stores, like with a GameStop. If your game is open, like you can't return it, you can only trade it in, and so like you have that kind of nonsense you have to deal with. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of I guess, for lack of a better word, a cluster.
Yeah.
Yay.
On December 17th, 2020, Sony announced that it would offer refunds to customers who had purchased Cyberpunk 2077 through the PlayStation Store. And remember, this is 7 days after the game was released.
Yep.
Removed it from the store until further notice.
Yep.
It returned to the store in June 2021. Damn. The PlayStation Store warned users that users continue to experience performance issues with this game. Purchase for use on PS4 systems is not recommended.
Wow. Really? Like, that's still on the listing?
I don't know if it still is, but that was it at the time. Like, when they brought it back, that was the warning they gave you. Like, hey, this game's still
That's insane. I mean, like, I guess it makes sense, but like, geez, that's, God, I feel like this game just like broke ground in like all the worst ways.
Yeah. The Xbox One version of the game remained available for purchase from the online Microsoft Store, albeit with a warning about the game's performance issues. Players who bought the game through the Microsoft Store were also offered refunds. In the US, GameStop accepted returns of box versions of the game even if the box was open, an exception to the store's usual refund policy. Although the game's reviews were largely positive, its aggregate score was thought to be disappointing by analysts. CD Projekt's stock fell by up to 9.4% after the publication of Metacritic reviews. The review aggregation OpenCritic criticized CD Projekt Red for deliberately attempting to misrepresent the game and not delivering review copies for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, knowing it would receive negative reviews. A class action lawsuit representing those making investments in CD Projekt during 2020 was filed on December 24, 2020 in California, asserting that the company made fraudulent claims to the state of Cyberpunk as to mislead those investors. A second similar class action suit had been filed by January 2021. By May 2021, 4 separate lawsuits against CD Projekt had been filed over Cyberpunk and had been subsequently merged into one common action. CD Projekt settled with the investors in December 2021, providing $1.85 million to the group as part of the terms. Poland's Office of Competition and Consumer Protection began an investigation of the game in January 2021, asking CD Projekt for an explanation regarding problems with the game and actions taken by them. Having previously asked its employees to work 6-day weeks for several final months of the development of the game, the company ditched plans to tie developer bonuses to review scores, choosing instead to pay out the full bonus regardless. Because that was also a big controversy, was that, oh, hey, they were not treating their developers well.
Nope. Not at all.
Jason Schreier of Bloomberg said that based on discussions with CD Projekt developers, a major reason for the poor performance of Cyberpunk on release was underestimating the effort that would be needed. While more than twice as many developers were brought on board to help with the game compared to The Witcher 3, CD Projekt had only expected the same amount of time to complete the game, so that the bulk of development towards the game only began in late 2016. The expanded scope of Cyberpunk, including the game's new engine, had created difficulties, and while there were more developers, there was less organization of their various functions that further hampered the development, according to Schreier's report. Many developers urged management to hold off on the game's release. Co-CEO, I don't know how to pronounce Polish names, but the co-CEO issued an open message to players on January 13th, 2021, apologizing for the state of the game and the company's plans to correct it. He stated the company underestimated the risk in bringing a game optimized to run on personal computers over to consoles, particularly the old Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles. He specifically faulted the in-game streaming engine that was used to load in assets from storage on the fly as the player moved through the game, which was scaled back to work on the older consoles. While they had tested these versions as they were approached release, they had not seen the same issues that players had reported in the release version. He affirmed that the developers were not responsible for the release date of the game, but instead this was the choice made by himself and the other management of the company. Besides working to issue refunds and bring the game to a state to return to the PlayStation Store, he outlined a year-long path that will involve multiple patches to bring the older console versions to better performance, and then looking to optimize the game for newer consoles prior to any further additional content development.
I will say during like this whole release snafu, I guess, I was just like tied to Jason Schreier's Twitter account because he was like on top of it. Oh, man.
It was just a lot to talk about with this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just kept coming.
It just kept coming. And it's still coming.
Yeah.
They don't stop coming.
I do know when they brought this game to like the current gen consoles, they put out like a free trial for a limited time. They gave you like, you can play the first like 5 or 6 hours of the game, which is an interesting thing because it runs really well in those first 5 or 6 hours before like it starts to get janky.
Man.
Which is interesting. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the development of this game.
Let's do it.
For how much is in here. Cyberpunk was developed by CD Projekt Red Studio in Warsaw and Krakow. That's probably not how you pronounce that, but you know. While the Wroclaw, that's also probably not how you pronounce that, office devoted about 40 people to research and development. It was based on Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk role-playing game franchise. Pondsmith started consulting on the project in 2012. He also appears in it as a character. The game drew its influences from the 1982 film Blade Runner, manga and anime series Ghost in the Shell, and video games System Shock and Deus Ex. Pondsmith's follow-up to Cyberpunk version 3.0, Cyberpunk Red, also made an impact on the lore. The game cost an estimated 1.2 billion Polish monies. I don't know how they pronounce their money.
Polish monies.
Which is about $313 million to develop, making it one of the most expensive games ever made.
Wow.
Where does it land on the list? It is at number 2.
Wow. I don't remember. What's number 1?
Star Citizen, but that game hasn't come out yet, so that's just a money laundering scheme.
I would say it's never going to come out, so...
Yes. The game entered pre-production with approximately 50 staff members after CD Projekt Red finished The Witcher 3, which, if we remember from earlier, I think we saw this, or I don't know how many. There's a lot more that's going to end up working on this game than 50.
Yeah.
The team has expanded over time, surpassing the size of the team for The Witcher 3. After the release of The Wild Hunt, the team began to upgrade its Red Engine 3 for Cyberpunk 2077, which went on to use the engine's next iteration, Red Engine 4, which I guess should be mentioned that they took an engine that they made third-person action RPGs in, and then took that engine and thought, we can just make a first-person action RPG in this engine that's also a first-person shooter. That's usually
not
a red flag of like, this is going to end bad.
Yep.
Like, you hear all the stuff about how EA has taken DICE's Frostbite engine, you know, the engine they used to make Battlefield, and tried to throw that into like Dragon Age and like Madden, and everyone's like, this doesn't work.
Yes.
What are you doing?
You know, when you think of Battlefield, you also think of Madden.
It's the same engine, which is weird. Or at least it used to be the same engine, but yeah, it's dumb.
It's dumb. You should not do that. You need to think of like, what tool is the appropriate tool to do this task that I want to do. Usually it's not use the same engine when it's not built for that.
Yeah.
Usually, but you know, who am I to say?
CD Projekt Red was granted subsidies of $7 million by the Polish government in 2017, which was used to hire team members to work on particular themes such as city creation and cinematic feel. In March 2018, a new studio opened in Wrocław to aid the production. CD Projekt Red partnered with several companies, Digitalscapes to craft additional tools, NVIDIA for real-time ray tracing, QLog for quality assurance, and Jail Research to procedurally generate the lip sync for all 10 localizations. In 2018, CD Projekt Red stated they had focused on optimization from the start of the project. Yeah. Originally to include multiplayer features, this feature was later decided to be a post-release addition. That is not in the game. At least as of this recording. Maybe they'll put it in, but I doubt it.
I doubt it.
The first-person perspective was chosen to immerse players more than what third-person would allow. Cutscenes and gameplay were both in first-person to seamlessly blend together. The game features full nudity, which game director Adam Badowski said encapsulates the theme of transhumanism. The body is no longer sacrum, it's profanum, or sacred and profane, which I guess is it is to say, when you make your character, you just see your character butt naked, right at the rip.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So I was just like making my lady character, and then like her face, and then it just zoomed out. I was like, oh, there's your hammer hammers, I guess. All right.
I mean, is it like Barbie and Ken doll, or do you see everything?
No.
Oh my.
They let you pick and choose those.
Oh my. Oh my.
So yeah.
Is that necessary?
No.
Yeah, like what does that add?
Nothing.
Okay, well, I guess we're just trying to be edgy.
The quest designers focus on enabling players to decide the order in which quests are undertaken. Side quests are often made from unused parts of the main story. The story is made shorter from The Witcher 3's, as CD Projekt found that many players had not finished the game as a result of its length. That game is long, so that makes sense. Also, I guess I should say I beat this game in like 40 hours, and I did most of the side content, or at least most of like the main side quests, not some of the other ancillary side content, but yeah, take that for what you will. Animation systems were remade to better generate muscle movement, motion capture was improved, and environments were created from prefabricated designs. Reused models had their colors and details altered. Feedback from E3 2018 influenced the non-lethal playthrough and removed the male-female option and character customization, instead basing it on voice and body type. So essentially, like, you can pick a like masculine or feminine body, and then also pick like what pronouns you decide you want to go by. So, and that'll determine like what characters like say to you and call you and all that sort of stuff. Where was it? Okay, here we go. The script was written in Polish, and a separate team translated the dialogue into English. Persons translated into languages other than English were provided with both the original Polish script and an English localization. The English localization was the base of all language versions except the Polish one. However, it was not a detriment that had to be translated one-to-one and allowed translators to be creative. There's a lot of translation in this game. That's the gist of this.
Right.
Night City was designed with the help of urban planners, and its architecture drew on the style of brutalism. The world is loaded with vertical streaming, a rendering technique that omits objects below and above the player's field of view, rendering only the elements that appear on the screen to save memory and make visible objects look more detailed. By August 2018, the story was completed and could facilitate a complete playthrough. The content was nearly complete in mid-2019, with the rest of the development focused largely on polishing. Staff started remote work in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, causing a halt in localization. Despite the studio's disavowal of mandatory overtime in May and June 2019, crunch time was implemented in the final weeks.
What?
In October 2020, Cyberpunk was released to manufacturing. Marcello Gandini's designs, who is a Italian car designer most known for creating the Lamborghini Miura, the Countach, and the Diablo, very famous Lamborghini late 80s, early 90s designs.
I'm sad. I know what none of that means.
His designs from the 80s and 90s shaped most of the vehicle's looks. It features a motorbike from the Akira manga and anime film, and a car inspired by Mad Max Fury Road. In July 2018, actor Keanu Reeves was approached for the role of Johnny Silverhand, codenamed Mr. Fusion, to maintain secrecy. He would lend his likeness to voice and do motion capture for the character. Reeves' dialogue amount is the second only to that of V, who's the main protagonist. Having spent 15 days recording his lines, Reeves was later granted his request that Silverhand's screen presence be doubled. Hey, put me more in this game. Masane Tsukiyama portrays Arasaka Corporation leader Sabaru Arasaka in Japanese for all regions, and the voice acting is not localized. Musician and producer Grimes voices the front woman of Lizzie Wizzy in the Meta Dwarves. I don't think I ever met that character.
Well, it's probably for the best, because she's out there having babies with Elon Musk.
Ugh.
You gross.
So yeah, that's kind of development. Also, they've like delayed this game multiple times.
I don't know why I'm so stuck on the fact that you said that they use like brutalist architecture, but that is just so strange to me.
Why is it strange to you?
I just don't associate brutalism with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they understood what Cyberpunk was.
Okay, well, that's valid then.
Because we were talking about this the other day, but like this very much feels kind of like just a very surface reading of like the Cyberpunk genre.
Yeah.
Like anything this game does has been done better in multiple avenues and other forms of media years ago.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just I don't know why it struck me so weird as like when I heard brutalism, but it did.
Mhm.
Um Also, I mentioned this before we started recording, but the Keanu breathtaking moment was like the best thing that came out of this game existing.
He's really good in this game.
I bet he is.
I
Keanu
mean,
Reeves in general is good.
it's not like a Kiefer Sutherland situation where they got him in for like 2 hours and just because Hideo Kojima really liked him. Like he is in this game a lot.
Double what he was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean it works because like that character is very prominent and also like a big component to the main story and everything. That like, you need to have that character around.
Mm-hmm.
And like just the way they kind of present that character, they give the backstory of it, the way his character interacts with the protagonist and everything, like it's all really well done, and a lot of that is due to Keanu's like his line reading and like how he's able to make this character become its own thing. So hey, that's good.
That is good.
Also, like we mentioned, this game got delayed a lot.
A lot.
E3 2019, there was an initial release date of April 16th, 2020. That eventually got pushed back to September 17th. That eventually got pushed back to November 19th. And then that eventually got pushed back to December 10th, which apparently the developers received death threats over that last delay.
What?
I mean, it's not surprising. The people who were really into this game were really into this game.
That's true. Also, the people who are like really into this game tend to be like also the gross Twitter edgelords.
Yeah. The final delay was decided suddenly with discussions commencing a day before the initial announcement, and due to Polish law, CD Projekt was not allowed to inform every member of the development team due to its large size. Around 90% were not informed until the very last minute.
What?
So there's that.
How is that? I don't understand the Polish law thing. Like, what?
I don't either.
Okay, anyway.
The current gen versions were supposed to come out last year, then eventually it's got delayed till 2022. They did make those upgrade paths for if you have the old versions on console. Those are free. So all you need is just like a PS4 copy of the game, and you can just put it in your console, and it's like, here you go. Have at it.
Woo. That's at least something.
Yeah. I think I don't remember if they ever talked about like what exactly their deals. I mean, they came out literally like this week and talked about, hey, we're still making an expansion for this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they ever said like, hey, we're going to like if we're going to charge people for that, because I don't know if you can charge people for it after everything that went down.
Yeah, I don't think so. You probably shouldn't. Just,
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, let's see how long we're in this half hour in, and now we can actually talk about the video game.
Woo!
Oh man. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I played the PS5 version of this. Performance-wise, it seemed okay. Like there's still issues of like cars phasing in and out, and cars like driving phase through cars and stuff like that. Sometimes the AI and driving is weird. Like that was definitely a big thing that they had to fix at release and all that sort of stuff. It is janky. Like this is it feels like a Bethesda game.
Oh boy.
With the jankiness of like characters will just do weird animations at times. I talked to you how like I was doing like the tutorials,
Mm-hmm.
and like one of them was for like the hand to hand combat, and like the training dummy I was having to fight would just randomly like at 2 times randomly decide I'm gonna T-pose for a split second.
Yep.
I was like, all right. But yeah, like characters will do some weird animations at times, just no reason whatsoever.
You mean you
just
don't
stuff
just
like
randomly
that.
T-pose?
Yeah, it's stuff like that. But like I didn't, like I said, I didn't have really many crashes except for the one at the very end of the game, which I just thought was funny.
Well, you said that it also like messed with your save file, which is yikes.
I don't know if it actually did or not, because like I was still able to load it up, and like nothing seemed out of place. I think it maybe just confused the PS5 and to be like into like the cloud save doohickey.
Maybe.
I think that confused it. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, there was also like that weird. It was like, hey, one of your saves might have been corrupted, and I was like, huh? Excuse me.
Ugh. What a bad time to actually like potentially have a corrupted save file though. Like at the very end. Oh, that would be. I just would have stopped. I would have quit.
I mean, like I did have multiple backup hard saves. It does auto save a lot, so I had a lot of those. So like I wasn't like SOL, but it would have been very fun.
I'm just saying, like if I got to the very end and if I had like not enough backups or like not enough of a situation where I felt like it was okay, I would have noped the out.
Yeah.
Just nope. All right, guess I'm not supposed to finish this. I'll watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A lot of this game reminds me of the last Deus Ex game they made.
Okay.
That Square Enix made.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the way like, it's like, it's a first person shooter, but also you have like techie skills that you can do, like hack people and hack different things around the environment, stuff like that.
Hacker voice, I'm in.
Yeah, and like you can also do like stealth and all that sort of stuff. So definitely very reminiscent of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like just the gameplay itself is okay. Like it's not a great first person shooter or anything like that, but like it gives you enough kind of like variety to you can kind of look past it. Vehicles don't drive well. They are very squirrely.
Oh no.
And it also doesn't help that a lot of like the designs of the cars are very inspired by like 80s designs, so they're very boxy and wide. So like trying to drive around these more narrow streets is kind of a pain in the butt. So I usually just drove around on a motorcycle the whole time, which is not probably what you should be doing in a game like this. Like they make all these cars that they want you to drive, and you're just like, I'm gonna drive a motorcycle because it's small and I can weave in through traffic.
I can navigate.
Yeah. So yeah, like I didn't drive a lot of cars in this game just because like they were just so squirrely. Like you just like move the stick a little bit just to like correct your driving and be like the back end's just like whipping out and stuff like that. It's just like this is not fun.
That's chaotic.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that was kind of a bummer. I think the big like the big key point or the key drawing point of this game is like the characters, because I think there's a lot of like decent to good written characters in this game. That like
decent to good.
Yeah, look, to be fair.
No, I'm appreciating your phrasing, my friend. I'm appreciating it.
Like there's like a lot of the characters, like, or at least some of like the more main characters that you run into, like, they actually make you like care about these characters and like how they have like their relationship with you and everything, and what you do with them in the game and how you interact with them and all that sort of stuff. I thought that was probably like maybe my favorite part of this game. Even though I think kind of the story is just So I thought that was good. I'm going to give you my gripe here.
Okay.
Because
you only have one?
No, this is just a gripe I've come up with because it's just a recurring thing that I've seen in other games that now I'm just going to I'm gonna vent my frustrations.
You're so boxed.
I'm airing my grievances.
Let's go.
This game has romances.
Okay.
Correct. And usually with games like this, you do the romance side quest and everything, you get together with said person, and then they basically just disappear from your life forever in these games.
Yep.
This kind of does that. Like, you still get, like, text messages from the person you romance throughout the story. So, like, it does kind of, like, seem like, hey, they're still a thing in your life. But, like, let me interact with this person more than just, like, oh, I've done your quest. Okay, see you later. You're invisible to me now.
Yep.
Give me the dating mechanic dating sim.
Have some like domesticity to it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna show up to like, I don't know, my dwelling, and oh hey, there's my
Let
partner.
me call them over to hang out. If you're gonna let me buy like 5 apartments, let me call over the significant other to let them hang out.
That's fair.
That's all these games need to do is just expand upon that. That's my gripe.
No, that's fair. I'm
getting off my soapbox now. Bloop.
Bloop. No, it's totally fair. Like that is a valid criticism of romance and video games in general.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, hey, You maxed them. All right, get out of here.
Get out of here. You're not going to show up until the end of the game now.
If you show up at all.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We want to hear about the story of this game?
Hit me.
I'll give you the Wikipedia slow plot summary.
Okay.
Cuz like it's weird cuz like there's two acts to this game. Seems weird.
What?
Like Act 1 is kind of like the prologue of everything that sets the rest of the game up, and Act 2 is kind of like where the game really opens up and allows you to explore the entire map and everything, and you get the big 3 story missions that kind of set up for the end of the game. But that's where you can kind of do a lot of the side missions. It felt weird to me though because like I thought this was going to be just like the middle portion of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So like I did the 3 main story quests eventually after doing like all the side stuff that I want to do, and then it was like, all right, well now you're at the point of no return mission, and it was like, wait, what?
What?
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Oh my god.
So yeah, that was weird. Anyways, let's talk about this game.
Okay.
The game begins with the selection of one of 3 life paths for the player character V. A nomad, which is what I chose, which means like you're a person who is out in like the Badlands, living with a family.
Whoa.
Except your character like abandons their family and goes off to Night City essentially because they're unhappy with how things have developed within the family. It's about family.
You had a family and then you're like goodbye family?
Yes.
Oh. That's sad.
I did the un-Vin Diesel thing.
You're the anti-Vin Diesel.
Yes. You can be a street kid, which means like you grew up on the streets and you hung out with gangs and stuff.
Tough.
Or you can be a corpo and you were a former corporate person.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds gross.
Yeah, that's terrible.
All 3 life paths involve V starting a new life in Night City with local thug Jackie Wells and having various adventures with a netrunner T-Bug. In 2077, local fixture Dexter Deshawn hires V and Wells to steal a biochip known as the Relic from Arasaka Corporation, which is basically the big corporation in this game.
Mm-hmm.
They acquire the relic, but the plan goes awry when they witness the murder of the Megacorp's leader, Saburo Arasaka, at the hands of his treacherous son, Yorinobu. Yorinobu covers up the murder as a poisoning and triggers a security sweep in which T-Bug is killed by Arasaka's netrunners. V and Wells escape, but Wells is fatally wounded in the process, and the relic's protective case is damaged, forcing V to insert the biochip into the cyberware in their head. Which is like, that was a sad moment, because like they give you a lot of time with Jackie as like a character. Like he's like your bud, your partner who you go out with on jobs because like, you know, you're a mercenary and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like, oh, he's dead now. And I was just like, oh, that's a bummer. This character was fun.
Yikes.
Deshawn, furious at the unwanted police attention, shoots V in the head and leaves them for dead in a landfill. Game over. Except you're not dead.
Of course not. Why would you be dead?
Upon awakening, V is haunted by the digital ghost of war veteran turned iconic rock star Johnny Silverhand, believed to have died in 2023 during an attempted thermonuclear attack on Arasaka Tower.
What?
Congratulations, you have the ghost of a terrorist in your head now.
And it's also Keanu Reeves?
And it's also Keanu Reeves.
Huh. Wait. Did you say he was a rock star?
Yes.
So he's a rock star terrorist?
Yes. He's an anti-corporation, anti-capitalist rock star.
Okay. And he's Keanu Reeves.
And he's Keanu Reeves.
And he's haunting you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just, clarifying.
Yes. V learns from their Ripper Dog, which is just a fancy doctor who can put cybernetic stuff in you.
Mm-hmm.
Victor Vector, that Deshawn's bullet triggered resurrection nanotech on the biochip, repairing the damage to V's brain, but starting an irreversible process to overwrite their memories with those of Silverhand, leaving V only a few weeks before the process completes. The biochip cannot be removed, so V must seek out a way to remove Silverhand and survive. So if you're dying now.
Oh.
Even though you died already. And if you don't do anything, Johnny Silverhand's going to take over your body.
Well, Keanu Reeves?
And become you. Yes. Through reliving Silverhand's memories, V learns that in 2023, Silverhand's then-girlfriend, Alt Cunningham, had created Soul Killer, an artificial intelligence able to copy Netrunners' minds through their neural links. However, the process destroyed the target's brain. Arasaka kidnapped Cunningham and forced her to create their own version of Soul Killer, which would store the minds of its targets in Arasaka's digital fortress, Mikoshi. Silverhand led a rescue effort to save Cunningham, but failed to find her before Arasaka used Soul Killer on her. Silverhand's later thermonuclear attack was a cover to free Alt's consciousness from Arasaka's subnet, but Arasaka captured him and used Soul Killer on him as well, which is how they get the relic, and that's how he ends up in your head.
Hmm.
So yeah, basically the three main missions see you going through like just trying to find a way to get this chip out of you and fix so you don't die and have this dude take over your mind. All the while, like when you first wake up and he's like trying to kill you, so he can take your body, you basically start like having this like he becomes your partner throughout the rest of the game.
Huh.
And like you have like all these talks with him that no one else can see because he's in your like head and you can see him like floating or like just walking around the environment while no one else can. And you have like conversations with him and it's like you begin like this like budding friendship or frenemy ship depending on how you want to take the character and all that sort of stuff with him throughout the rest of the game. And like he'll influence your decisions and all that sort of stuff and talk you through various stuff of like, oh, this is what I would have done in your shoes, kid, and all this sort of stuff. And you know, things of that nature. It was very weird because like I did the first thing of Act 2 where like he tries to kill you, and then I went out and did some side quests, and then like do some of these side quests he's acting like all buddy, and I was like, wait, this is a very what's happening here? What's going on here? Yeah. So you do the thing where like, you know, you learn about alt and everything, and then you find her in cyberspace and talk to her, and she's just like an AI now and doesn't really care, but she's like, I guess I'll help you if you figure out a way to get into Arasaka Tower and get to Mikoshi. I'll help you out there. You find a dude who made the relic and be like, hey, fix this for me. He's like, I can't really do that. That was the beta we made. I don't know about the specs of it. I mean, I know the specs of it. Here's the blueprints and everything, but like, I can't really help you. I don't know what to do. And then you help like the bodyguard of Saburo Arasaka, who realizes that the dude got betrayed by his son and wants revenge. So like you have to go like find a way to talk to the dude's daughter and be like, hey, your brother killed your dad. That's messed up, right? Also, this character has a thing in their head from you guys, and once it fixed, you gotta help her. So you gotta do all of that, and then eventually, once you do all that, the daughter's like, hey, I'll help you out. But you gotta come with me and testify in front of the Arasaka board that, hey, he committed patricide, and that's bad. But also, you can do all these other things.
Woo!
Because that's where like kind of like the big ending choices diverge for you. So yeah. Let's see. By 2077, Arasaka was advertising a Secure Your Soul program and conducting secret research into writing a digital copy of the mind into a living human brain from which the relic arose. Eventually, V must decide whether to mount an attack on Arasaka Tower to gain physical access to Mikoshi and use Soul Killer to remove Silverhand from their body. Or I guess you could be like, hey, this guy's bad. No good.
No.
Depending on player actions throughout the game, V can choose between different options to conduct the attack. V can decide to commit suicide.
Yikes.
That's the bad ending. Allowing Silverhand to stage the attack with his former crew, mount the attack with a network of allies assembled during the game, or mount the attack solo. Regardless, after successfully using Soul Killer, it is revealed that the damage to V's body is irreversible. Depending on the player choice, V either remains in their body with an uncertain life expectancy or allows Silverhand to take over permanently, in which case he pays his respect to his friends and leaves Night City to start a new life.
Huh.
So congratulations, you save your life, but also you don't really save your life. The end.
Huh.
Yeah. You know, can't have a happy ending. Cyberpunk. The ending I went with was that one of the three main missions earlier, like you meet up with this other nomad group and you meet up with one of the characters who runs with them, and you help them out through a series of missions and everything, and like kind of become ingratiated in that group and everything. And the ending I went with basically is like, hey, I'm gonna call on them to help me storm the tower and everything. And through that, they basically are like, hey, you're now a part of the family. You're in our group now. We're gonna help you do this and everything. Couple people die during the mission because of course they do, and like the leader of that clan gets his head stomped in, which is real nasty.
Yeah.
So like the character you run with becomes the new leader and everything, and like the ending is essentially like you do the whole thing where you get Johnny out of your mind and everything. He's like, good luck, kid. I'm going to cyberspace. And then essentially you and the rest of the crew and like your romantic interests leave Night City and head out because also you're very wanted for breaking into this tower and everything. And are just gonna try and find like a new life somewhere else, and hopefully be able to like find a way to fix you, essentially.
Huh.
Which I think is like the closest thing to like a good ending this game has.
Right.
And also it felt reasonable for like the character I had made of like, hey, this was a former nomad who's like broke out of their family and now finds this new nomad group that they're real cool with and is able to join a new family, kind of make it come full circle essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So like it felt good in that aspect, but also like it was definitely the least like, oh man, your character is not doing well and just seems like a butthole, or you don't have your character anymore type ending. At least for me. Because I definitely looked up these endings before doing them, just be like, which one do I want to do? And I saw this one, I was like, this is probably the one I want to do. But yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the story is, just dealing with, individuality and like what it means to be an individual, and like what happens when there are two consciouses inside a person, how that works out, who's going to become the person and all that sort of stuff. But again, it's like, this isn't anything new that has been done in this genre. This is all stuff that has been done previously.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it just feels like there has been so many other things that have done this, that have done it well and done it better, that it just feels like, it's, yeah, this is like, futuristic sci-fi, but like, if I really wanted good stuff from this, I would go elsewhere from this.
Yeah.
And like, another thing I think that's kind of a bummer about this game is that like, it would be real interesting to kind of see like, how the world got the way it is. And like, I think a lot of that is done through a lot of the like collectible, whatchamacallit, like, data pad pickups that give you like just a bunch of like text and everything, but there's like so many of them.
Ugh.
And I don't want to read through all of them.
No,
but I want to know how this setting kind of came to be. But it's just like, I don't want to read through all that. Just, you could tell me through the story.
That's what I was thinking, is like that would be a good way to add like additional supplementary information, but like
it's a lot.
I don't know, maybe just put some of that in the actual story.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Also, you can read poetry in this game, and also our boy William Blake is in this video game.
Yes.
So add another one to him.
Check mark. Yep.
I saw that in the credits and I was like, ha, ha, that's funny.
Well, it's a shame that after Devil May Cry 5, which was a fantastic, amazing, beautiful, brilliant game, that William Blake is now here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justice for William Blake.
Yes. But yeah. I think as well, like the city itself, like the design of the city kind of just doesn't feel that great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels real bland to drive through. Like there's nothing, especially within the city itself, there's not a whole lot that like kind of differentiates itself. Like once you get to like kind of like to the outskirts of the city, it starts to, because like it's like, oh, here's the desert, or here's like the very rundown places. But like when you're inside the city, like everything just kind of feels very samey and similar. That it's like there's not a whole lot of like ways to really tell where you are. Like, and it's not a huge map either, which I think is kind of surprising. Because you would think with the way this game is, like it would be a rather large map, but like it does feel kind of smaller in scope, which I thought was interesting. Kind of disappointing.
I'm kind of shocked by that.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a video game.
Oh man.
If you weren't aware.
I do appreciate that, like every once in a while I'll be like, hey, how's it going when you're playing? And you're like, yep, I'm playing it.
I mean, I did play the game for like 40 hours, so.
No, you did.
It definitely scratched that like open world itch that I had been having recently, so like I can't fault it for that. Like, I think if you're going to play this, play it on a decent, or not a decent, but like a good PC setup or on the current gen consoles, that's going to be the best place to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
And also just like go into it with the mindset of like, it's fine. I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's good. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah. Just think, hey, this is going to be kind of like a janky Bethesda game, but maybe not as good. And I think you'll have like a decent time with it, especially because if you can get it for dirt cheap.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're getting it for $5, like that ain't bad.
That ain't bad.
I do appreciate your route though of not giving them money. So
yeah.
Although, like, how much money are they actually going to get off a $5 sale?
I mean, true, but also like,
yeah, no, I get
they
it.
didn't get a single penny off of me, so
good. Little gremlin.
That's me.
Yeah, they suck. Yeah. Say they shouldn't get your money.
I am curious to see what they would do as like for an expansion of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the main story is pretty cut and dry of like beginning and end. Like obviously you could do like other stuff within that story, but like I'm curious to see how they do it, like, or what they would do. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd pay for it though. That's the thing. And yeah, like everything about this game really makes sense of why they are like, yeah, we're gonna use Unreal Engine 5 for when we make The Witcher 4 now. We came to that conclusion.
Oh man. I think if anything else came out of this whole snafu, I got to learn how terrible of a company they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's good news for me to know.
Yeah.
Because I was not as aware of how trash they were.
I don't think a lot of people were. Because they've definitely had that veil of like, oh, we are very consumer friendly and everything. Look at all we have done for our games and for GOG and everything.
Right.
And then this just broke the dam open.
Apparently there's also some like Gamergate-ish stuff there too.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So yeah, it basically was like, here's this nice curtain. Okay, we're gonna pull it back. Oh god, there's just a pile of stinking garbage here.
I don't think they pulled it back. I think it just got caught on fire.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair way to put it. There was a curtain. It is now gone because it imploded on itself. It's basically like if I were running around in Saints Row 4 and the curtain is just like, well, I can't exist anymore because the little pyro's here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just that curtain was destroyed, and so was my view of them entirely. Which, like I said, I'd rather know that than not know it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It just always sucks to find that out because you're like, oh, good, another one is absolutely freaking garbage. Cool.
That's the games industry for you, essentially.
Trust me, don't I know it?
Blech.
Blech. Terrible.
Oh boy, oofa doofa. But yeah, I can't complain about this game. I mean, I can't complain about this game. I can't complain about this game for getting it cheap and, the time I put into it. So, like, it's better than what I thought, but, like, even then, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
An okay video game.
Yeah. You could certainly do worse.
It's Keanu Reeves in it.
Yeah.
He's an all right dude. We like Keanu
that definitely
Reeves.
helps.
I think that's probably like one of the pluses of this game.
I would agree with you on that.
I didn't even play it, and I'm just like, yeah, Keanu Reeves, woo! Somebody who's not garbage. Yay! Keanu Reeves, please don't become garbage. Please don't reveal that you're actually garbage. Just please stay the way you are now. It's all I'm asking of you. The world is terrible. I need to keep the fact that Keanu Reeves is not awful alive. Don't mess this up for me, Keanu. I'm relying on you.
Well, there you go. That's Cyberpunk. We eventually talked about it.
We did. We eventually talked about it.
It is, in fact, a video game that you can now play on all storefronts.
Since it has been returned, albeit with a warning.
Warning. Oh, man. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love Live Sunshine and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, we'll talk about something else.
I might have Cross finished by then, maybe.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that or something else.
Maybe. We'll see.